Hello everyone, JoshSTATiX I here, and today I want to bring something different that I haven't done in a while, and that is reviewing games. So today I'm going to review Resident Evil 4, one of my personal favorite games out of this series. So for this review, I am calling it the JoshSTATiX I Deep Review. And what this deep review is that I'm going to cover every aspect of the game, so that it's going to include spoilers as well. So if you don't want to be spoiled in the game's plot, don't worry, at a certain point in this video you will see a timestamp what you need to go to, so I got you on that. We'll be looking at the Xbox One version. Main reason is because it's HD. So anyways guys, this is JoshSTATiX I and this is my review of Resident Evil 4. Around that year and the years before that, there were so many great games from around that time, such as Half-Life 2, Doom 3, Halo 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and many more. My only issue at the time was that I couldn't play any of those awesome games because I didn't own a PS2 and an Xbox. So I was pretty much stuck using this lunchbox of a console called the Nintendo GameCube. And at that time when I was younger, I felt this lunchbox didn't have any real man games.
Man games, by JoshSTATiX J's definition, he means games that are tough, uncompromising, and intimidating. Games that are violent, bloody, and all the above. Man games!
You could say that we had games such as Super Smash Melee, Star Fox Adventure, and Metroid Prime. But that all changed for me back in early 2005 when Capcom finally released Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. Not only was this game critically acclaimed and a hit, it also redefined how we play survival horrors again, and also third-person shooters as well. However, this game did went through some years of development, and I'm talking about 5 years, and I'm going to explain why. During its development, there were so many different versions of the game. The first was around the late in 1999. Hideki Kamiya, the man who was behind Resident Evil 2, was requested by Shinji Mikami to create Resident Evil 4. And at this time, Hideki wanted to make this new Resident Evil game cool and stylish, in which he wanted to create a story about a man named Tony who has a set of skills and intellect that of normal human beings. And during the game's creation, Hideki and his staff made so many changes, like getting rid of the pre-rendered backgrounds and fixed camera angles for something more dynamic. Because basically he felt the character Tony didn't look cool and brave enough with the fixed camera angles being there. Hideki and his staff was so deep in this development that series creator Shinji saw the product and he felt that the game went too far from the survival horror roots, and he demanded that the game should be made separately from the Resident Evil series. And that game will be called Devil May Cry, released in 2001.
Let's rock, baby.
And I must say that it is an awesome game. And as for the second attempt of this game, it was around 40% of its completion, and it involves the story of Leon surviving in a castle while being affected with the virus. But this concept didn't go through at the time, so it was scrapped. Now the third attempt at this game was demonstrated at E3 of 2003, but this time they put the character Leon in a haunted paranormal mansion. This version, in my opinion, looks completely scarier than the final build. As seen in this version, they were using things such as hallucinations, bluish tint, and a shaky camera. You also fought a lot of paranormal enemies and this hook guy, for example. But ultimately, this idea didn't go through in the end as well. This version went through so many iterations and obstacles to a point that development was too expensive, that series creator Shinji had to step in and scrap it. It was finally decided that the final version of the game needed to reinvent the series. Shinji took over as director and wanted to shift the gameplay to a new direction because the old school way of playing it wasn't cutting it for him and his staff. After playing Resident Evil 0, the latest entry at the time for the GameCube. After playing Onimusha 3, a game Shinji liked and enjoyed, he felt the game could have been better with a different view. The game gave him an influence and motivation to which he focused the camera behind Leon. And after meetings with his staff, some of the staff members really liked this new idea because they'd grown tired of the old way of playing it just like Shinji did. And the other some did not really like this concept. They felt that the series was going too far from the survival horror's roots, so in the process some of the members stayed to work on Resident Evil 4 while others worked on other projects. And that Resident Evil 4 was finished and released in January 2005. game takes place 6 years after the events of Resident Evil 2, with Leon now working as a secret agent for the US government. For this game's plot, he is being sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter named Ashley Graham from a mysterious group called the Los Illuminados, and no, I am not talking about the Illuminati. But moving forward, Leon travels to Spain to find and rescue Ashley. Now, while Leon goes to the village to investigate on Ashley's whereabouts, it didn't take him that long to realize that these people are crazy as hell. Shit. Leon does, however, survives from the crazy folk in the village. He is saved by a church bell. For whatever reason they choose to ignore this man, a church bell gathered their attention. As Leon continues to go with this investigation on finding Ashley, he does find a man in a certain house being held hostage in a dresser named Luis. However, the interactions with each other was cut very short when the big guy pretty much bossed Leon on his back. I am the one, the way your son don't. While being knocked unconscious, one of the crazy people inject Leon with the Las Plagas parasite. Moments later, he suddenly wakes up in a new room with Luis held captive with them while they talk about cop stuff and etc. When they should have been thinking about a way of an escape. Seriously, who has time to talk casually about nothing while being held captive? I'm just saying, you got handcuffs on. But by some miracle, they finally managed to escape while the bloody crazy cat cut the chains off. While they are free due to some conflict, Luis decides to run off for some reason. Way to be a bro to the guy who saved you twice. Moving forward, while Leon is free, he continues to search for Ashley. While continuing with this investigation, he does have a run-in with the big guy, not once, but twice again. The big guy does tell Leon that he carries the same blood as him, but the big guy discriminates Leon, calling him an outsider, and that if he sees him again, he's pretty much going to beat that tail. And after that whole incident, Leon continues with his investigation looking for Ashley's whereabouts. In the process of finding Ashley, he does fight a numerous amount of creatures such as a big ugly fish, whatever this thing is, and whatever that thing is. And after fighting his way through a numerous amount of enemies, Leon does find Ashley in a church. At first glance, when Leon finds Ashley, she gets hostile towards him because she thinks he's one of the Los Illuminados. Leon does reason with Ashley to let her know that the president sent him to go rescue her, and she's happy about it. While they're on the run looking for a way out of this village, they are stopped by the man named Sattler, the leader of the Illuminados. He explains to them that they are both injected with the Las Plagas parasite in their bodies, and that once the eggs have hatched, they're pretty much going to be his puppets following his every command. Basically, he had his people kidnap Ashley to inject her so they can send her back to her father, aka the president, to cause hell, infecting the entire world at his command. Basically, a evil, typical bad guy. Leon and Ashley was like, F that noise, and they ran by a nearby window to escape. While they're on the run, eventually they are both being cornered by the infected villagers, and they both run towards this big house. While they're inside the house, they are reunited with Luis to pretty much fight the rest of the villagers as long as they can. While fighting as long as they can against the villagers pretty much just say, screw it, we'll fight another day for some reason. Now while Leon and company tries to figure out a way of an escape, Luis leaves for some reason because he forgot something. Keep notes on this guy because this is the second time he left the crew hanging. Moving forward, while they're going their separate ways, Leon and Ashley continues looking for a way off the village. They do have more run-ins with the enemies, but they do have one final run-in with the big guy. If you ever pay attention, notice how the big guy always stands behind Leon, tries to grab him. In response, Leon tries to kill the guy by shooting the barrels near him. It doesn't kill the big guy, but however, this dude does transform into, what the hell is this thing?
You're one ugly motherfucker.
After killing the big guy, Leon and Ashley finally escape to the castle nearby. When they get to the castle, they find out that this castle is also full with more Los Illuminados. As Leon and Ashley continues to fight past their enemies, they are reunited with Luis for him to lead them again because he forgot some medicine that can pretty much prevent the eggs from hatching. How can you mess this up? Once again, take notes, this is the third time he left the crew hanging, especially Leon. While going their separate ways again, they go inside this building and they are greeted by a very annoying evil laugh. The person greets himself and his name is Salazar, who pretty much works for Sattler. He basically tells Leon that Ashley belongs to them and that Leon ain't worth the penny trying to save her, and then he just walks off like a real G. Ashley is worried because she doesn't want to become one of them, and Leon's like, we're gonna go look for a cure. But moments later, they got separated due to some traps, and Ashley gets herself caught again. While Leon is being taunted by Salazar and at the same time fighting his way through some enemies, Leon gets held up at gunpoint by a lady in the red dress. to where he defends himself and finds out that the lady is Ada Wong, and she is alive after the events of Resident Evil 2. However, her reasoning in being there is unknown. However, she does run away from Leon and they both go their separate ways for now. While Leon continues to search for Ashley again, Louise finally catches up with Leon. Hold up! Let's play a game real quick. What do you think Louise is going to do? A, he wastes Leon's time again and says he forgot something. B, he proves something useful and fights alongside Leon. C, he betrays Leon. Or D, he gets killed off by someone. We're giving you 5 seconds to submit your answer in the comment section below. 5 seconds, 5 seconds. And their answer is D. Yes, Louise gets impaled off screen. As he gets impaled and lifted up through the air, Louise drops an item that Sattler catches and he walks off. Hold up, did that came right under his robe? Oh, you stabbed him with your junk.
Yo, he literally penetrated the man through the back.
With his dying words, Louise tells Leon that he must get the sample back from Sattler. He also gives Leon these pills for the parasites in the body in case they cause him any problems. Louise passes off and dies, and Leon says, "Louise!" But minutes later, he finds Ashley being chained up downstairs. Leon shoots the chains off and frees Ashley, and they are once again reunited. But that didn't last that long neither, cause she later gets picked up and taken away by this big bug creature. Leon continues to fight his way through Salazar's men, creatures, and traps, to later find out from Salazar that she is being sent away in an island. In an attempt to kill Leon, Salazar and his minion merge with whatever this thing is and become this ugly creature. Heroic that he is, Leon kills it. After Leon basically kills the creature, he gets the rides from Ada Wong to go to the island with her, where Ashley now is being held captive at. While Leon and Ada are on their way to the island, Leon gives her this look.
Got some business to take care of. See you later.
Women. On his way alone on the island, Leon fights his way through the enemies trying to look for Ashley. He continues, he does make a detour to go up this radio tower to page for backup just in case. He does manage to rescue Ashley, but this time they had to jump down the garbage disposal for escape. As Leon and Ashley continues to fight through the bad guys, they both pick up the pickup truck and continues to fight their way through the enemies. However, in doing so, they later crash into a wall nearby. As the truck was damaged, they continue to leave without it. Moving on ahead, when they approach in his room, Sattler is already there, but this time he mind controls Ashley, taking her with him, while putting Leon in some intense pain due to the parasite now beginning to hatch. This is the 4th time she's been captured. While that was going down, Ada meets up with the unnamed character who likes throwing his knife up and down. It is revealed that her and this guy are working with Wesker trying to obtain the Lost Plaga sample. The unnamed character tells Ada that he doesn't trust her and that if she tries anything funny, he will kill her. Meanwhile, while Leon is going separate on his own trying to look for Ashley, he gets a violent greeting from an unnamed character. His name is Jack Krause, and he is an old comrade of Leon who had believed to have died in the plane crash 2 years before the game's plot. They both engage in a serious knife fight while conversating at the same time. While fighting, Leon figures out that Krauser is the one who really kidnapped Ashley. Krauser explains that he kidnapped Ashley for the simple reason for Sattler to trust him, because he's American. And while they continue to fight, Leon cuts Krauser and Krauser gains the upper hand, kicking Leon on his back. He almost gets killed in the process, but Ada saves him in the nick of time. Krauser leaves the scene but tells Leon that he can't escape from his inevitable death. Ada asks Leon if they both knew each other, but Leon shuts that down, asking her what she really doing on this island. They both end up separated again. As Leon continues on and starts looking for Ashley, he has numerous amount of encounters with bad guys and creatures alike. He later has one final showdown with Jack Krauser, only for this time he transforms his arm into his blade, and Leon defends himself and kills him in the process as well. After that, Leon continues to go look for Ashley, only for this time he gets backup that he called for. After fighting a numerous amount of enemies again, the chopper is shot down and Leon vows to take care of Sattler once and for all. As Leon finally catches up finding Ashley, Sattler attacks Leon while he tries to rescue her. Ada, in the nick of time, shoots Sadler with her Uzi, buying Leon some time to save Ashley while both of them fleeing, while Ada takes on Sadler on her own. While Leon and Ashley are both fleeing, they run into this particular room where they sit in these chairs to get rid of the parasites within their body. Leon and Ashley are both free from the parasites within their body, and they plan to escape this island once and for all. While they are running, Leon decides to make a stop because he felt something isn't right for some reason. He goes up the lift alone and he meets Sadler up top, who has Ada captured. Sadler tries to harm Leon, but it has no effect on Leon because he got rid of the parasite within his body.
Better try a new trick, cause that one's getting old.
So instead, he transformed to his final form, another gigantic, ugly creature. With the help of Ada and assist, she tosses him this special rocket launcher. Leon picks it up and blows this son of a gun into smithereens. While the fight is over for once and for all, Leon picks up the sample, but Ada takes the sample away from Leon, holding on at gunpoint. She takes off running and jumping into this helicopter. While being on board, she gives Leon her jet ski keys to get off the island with Ashley while she presses the detonator key to blow the island. Ada leaves the scene, finishing her mission. Leon and Ashley finally escape the island, and they both sail off happily ever after. The end. That is the story. Now, as for my own thoughts about the stories, I really enjoy how awesome this game is, and I still do to this day. In my opinion, the game stands out the most, in comparisons to the game released before it and after it. I love how in the beginning the game starts off with this horror feeling, but later throughout the game it has this action feeling. Now, as for the characters, Leon is 10 times more awesome than he was as a rookie cop in Resident Evil 2. I gotta give props to Capcom making Leon more likable than he was before. He's smooth, he's cool, and he's got control in the game. Ashley, I used to think she was very annoying back then when I was younger. Do I still think she's annoying now? Not so much, because I tend to ignore it, because she's only around the game 30% of the time. Even though she is used as a plot device, it's what made the game interesting in the first place. However, it could have been done better in my opinion. Not really much I can say about Ashley other than she's a kind of character. She always screams when she's in danger. I just wish they could have put more courage into her, or even gave her a little bit of sass to humanize her, to make her more likable to begin with. Luis is alright, but he was only in the game around 10% of the time. Not much I can really say about the guy, but hey, at least he did something more useful than Ashley. Ada still to this day is a mysterious character as ever, and she is more dependable than Ashley and Luis combined. She does look good, however, I find that her dress is a bit distracting.
What are you, gay?
And a bit out of place. I mean, who is she really trying to impress? Ain't no saying civilized people besides Leon and company. Who knows, maybe it's the sex appeal for the game back in the day. And as for the villains, the Big Cheese, Salazar, and the Sadler were throwaway bad guys to begin with. And sadly, they weren't very complex at all. Their motives is something you would see in a Saturday morning cartoon of an action show. Jack Krauser, on the other hand, stood out a lot more than the other three guys that I mentioned. And he's only in the game 25% of the time. I think the game would have been cooler if he was the main antagonist for Leon and company, because he was like the Bane to the game compared to Batman. I felt Capcom could have done a lot more with his character instead of Sadler and the other guys. But overall, I like the story. It's entertaining, especially if you like adventure. However, this may throw off some fans because of its less of a horror approach. But if you really think about it, Resident Evil's story as a whole was always about viruses taking over the world from evil organizations. Plus, on top of that, it was also about fighting against bioterrorism. Now, as for the gameplay, the game greatly differs from its predecessors. No more fixed camera angles and pre-rendered backgrounds. Now that the game introduces a new dynamic over-the-shoulder camera view that adds a lot of tension for when enemies attack you up close. This time around, you can aim more freely instead of the limited ways of shooting in the old game. This game introduces a laser sight that you use to aim at the enemies at whatever place you want to shoot them at, and you can be as precise as you please. Also noted, if you shoot people in the head or leg, you can stun them for free and devastate an attack up close. It helps you out and save a lot of ammo, believe me, it does. This time around, the knife is on you without the need to go into the inventory menu compared to the older games. With the use of precise aiming being introduced into this game, you can use the knife however way you please, aiming in whatever direction you choose. One thing that I like to do is use it on enemies that are knocked down. It may be time consuming, but trust me, it helps you save a lot of ammo that you need later on throughout the game. Enemies that you will be facing in the game aren't pushovers neither compared to the zombies. zombies. What makes them interesting is the fact that they can run, grab, and attack you with any weapon long or short range, in which it adds a bit of challenge to the gameplay. You can run into rooms and barricade them, kicking down ladders, kicking down doors, jumping out of the windows, dodging enemies, attacks, and traps. What is also introduced in the game are QTEs, which are quick time events for short. They are put in place for a reason, for the buttons will pop up on screen for you to press. Failure in not doing so will result in damage being done to you, or worse, death. Executing these QTEs will help do some special damage to certain bosses, or better yet, kill them. The inventory management system has greatly improved since its predecessors. Instead of having limited spaces that can hold up to 6 to 8 items in the old games, you can hold up a lot more items now that this game introduced a grid system. That pretty much fits into a briefcase. With the use of this briefcase, you can hold up a lot more items than you possibly could, as long as you fit them wisely. I like this system a lot because it eliminates the need to go backtracking compared to the old games for items and weapons. What is also awesome is the fact that certain key items are separate from your main inventory, making the experience more of a breeze. Like I said before, it eliminates the need to go backtracking. You can earn many things throughout this game, such as weapon ammunition, herbs, and money. These can be earned by killing enemies with some chances they'll drop upon death, sometimes out in the opening, and sometimes breaking crates and chests. And speaking about money that you can earn, which is new, throughout the campaign, you'll have occasional run-ins with the merchant, a guy that has a lot of things on sale. With him, you can upgrade your weapons, buy items, and you can sell items that he can buy from you too at a rare price, depending on the item. There's so many weapons in this game that you can use at your disposal, such as a handgun, shotguns, machine guns, snipers, and much more. Each has their own advantages and disadvantages too. Now, with backtracking no longer being an issue, this game, in my opinion, has really great level designs, as I said earlier. It is a joyride from start to finish. Each new area and enemies provides a new set of challenges for the players to overcome. Some enemies will wear armors in which you have to plan your attacks a bit differently than others, and the others are a bit different to take out. Now, the bosses in the game are a fair challenge as well. Just make sure you have the right gun for the right job. This game does have puzzles, and in my opinion, they are pretty easy to solve, except for this one puzzle. I hate this one the most. After beating the game, you will unlock some new modes. And also, I must not forget, this game does have extra costumes too. There's two different types. For Leon, he could wear this police uniform that he wore in Resident Evil 2, paying homage to that. His second costume is a gangster suit, and I'm not going to lie, it is pretty cool when you use it with the Chicago typewriter. As for Ashley, she has two different costumes as well. The first being she is wearing this sexy kind of outfit, and the second costume is pretty much a nice armor. Believe it or not, it is very useful. Ada does too have an outfit as well. And after beating the game, you do unlock some awesome weapons as well, such as this laser gun, Chicago typewriter, and many more. Although some of them cost money. Like I said earlier, there are new modes in this game, which includes the separate ways where you play as Ada, to find out more on what she was doing from her perspective. If it's one thing that I have to nitpick about, granted, this mode didn't come out until the PS2 version, which used a PS2 render cutscene, so it looks pretty ugly on the HD display. That's one thing that bothers me about it. There is also Assignment Ada, another mode where you play as Ada to look for 5 lost plugin samples. I will say one thing, the cutscenes do look good, however the gameplay is really short to begin with. In the last and final mode, which is the Mercenaries. The Mercenaries is my favorite out of the bunch. Basically, it is an arcade survival type of how many enemies you can kill while racking up as much points as you can. If you earn up to a certain amount, you can unlock certain characters out of the 4 of these maps you selected. The village, the castle, and 2 other islands. You can unlock up to 4 new characters to play with out of the 5, which includes Leon, Ada, Krauser, Hunk, and Wesker. Leon's loadout is pretty basic. You have a handgun and a shotgun. Ada is pretty flexible with her loadout, which includes a handgun, machine gun, and a sniper. Krauser only has a bow and an arrow. It takes time getting used to, but it is very rewarding once you get it down with the precise shooting, especially with headshots. In addition, what really makes him cool is the fact that he can turn his left arm into this blade, killing everything in front of him in the line of sight. Hunk is okay. All he has is a machine gun and hand grenades. One downside is that he doesn't have a knife. So pretty much all you can do is go guns blazing and snapping necks. Now for Wesker, that dude is fully loaded with many weapons like Ada. His loadout includes a handgun with a silencer, Killer 7, and a sniper rifle. He does have this powerful punch and a powerful drop kick that destroys heads. However, he doesn't have a knife as well, but he really doesn't need to, granted the fact that he's a freaking super freak in the first place. That being said, each character is pretty dope, which adds their own bit of flavor to the gameplay. After everything I said, overall, the gameplay in my opinion is the strongest part that really made the game stand out the most, in my opinion. Resident Evil 4 is still an amazing game to this day of the series, at least in my opinion. The game did at the time was the forefather of how third-person shooters and survivors are today currently as of this video. If it wasn't for RE4, there wouldn't be games such as Gears of War that involved the third-person shooters to be cover-based shooters. And again, if it wasn't for Resident Evil 4, there wouldn't be games such as Dead Space and Alan Wake that added more attention and paranoia of something that's going to get you. Innovation, baby, innovation. And as for the final verdict, for the game released in its original state, I will give this game a 10 out of 10. But as for this port that I'm playing on a new hardware, this game gets an 8.5 out of 10. Reason being is the gameplay. Since gameplay on third-person shooters has evolved as a whole, with controls feeling more freely and fluid as ever, if you're a new player coming to Resident Evil 4, you're probably not going to enjoy it on your first playthrough. Mainly because the movement and turning around is all on the left thumbstick, and that may turn someone off if you're a new player. Also note that this port of the game is still the same game we played 11 years ago with little to no changes, given the fact that this game is now in 1080p and 60 frames per second. Not only if they would have remastered the game, they could have remastered control schemes as well, so you can move like this instead of moving like that, thumbstick wise. Anyways, that's my final verdict of Resident Evil 4. If you're interested in picking up this game, you can find this game very cheap anywhere, especially digital as well. Anyways guys, that's my deep review of Resident Evil 4. Now if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new so you won't miss out on all this awesomeness coming to the future. Share this video with your friends so they can have a good laugh. Tell a friend and tell a friend about JoshSTATiX I and your favorite social media platforms to spread the word about me. I really appreciate that, guys. I plan to do more reviews like this, y'all. Hopefully it won't be this long like this video, given the fact that this was a passion project, so sorry if it's too long, but hey, I had to do what I gotta do. But anyways, y'all, thanks for stopping by and watching. Thanks for stopping by again if you're visiting to see what's it about. And yeah, I'm out of here, guys. This is JoshSTATiX I, and I'm out. Peace.